All right, well, hello and welcome back to Animal Training Development Center. Today we have with us Bonnie and her counterpart Daisy. They are basically here for a custom type of board and train program, and we are working on some specific problem behaviors and some obedience as well. Down. Both Bonnie and Daisy are a little bit older dogs than what we normally start with in terms of training, but they have some foundation already in them. Their main issues are boundary training in terms of staying on the owner's property, as well as acceptance of vehicles coming in and out of the property, deliver packages, and guests coming to the property as well. They're very protective, and they have been known to be a little bit assertive and aggressive toward those types of people. So we've been working on that around our home, which they often will react right there like they do at their home. We've worked on them not only accepting human beings, but also by allowing them to accept other dogs walking near their crates while they're in there. We found them to be very reactive over that, especially at meal times. They would be very reactive. Now, some people will say that's normal, but what we're trying to do is create a culture of sanity in our board and train programs where all the dogs learn that their needs are all being met. Everybody's going to get fed, everybody's going to get watered, everybody's going to get attention, everybody's going to get walks, everybody's going to get trained. So there's no reason to act out around one another mealtime. And so we worked pretty hard on that. In fact, that was probably our biggest part of the training this last 5 days, is just getting them to integrate into our pack scenario at home, where we had 2 other board and trained dogs in training, and our 2 dogs as well, my German Shepherd and our Pomeranian, and just trying to get everybody along and everybody to accept each other and get along was a lot of what we did. But I think that's going to translate at your home with them into dogs that are a lot more manageable and a lot less reactive when you do have people coming and going from your property. So I think all this is going to work out great for you. As far as the obedience goes, Bonnie in particular already had a good foundation, I think, from previous to me getting her. So she was really easy to work with. Basically, we've taught her the heel on the left side here, and so she, like every dog, needs a little tune-up here and there, but overall, she's really pretty good about staying in that position and following very closely. She tends to have a little bit of a submissive nature when it comes to training, so she really is very meek and mild when she's not around Daisy. So we've noticed that when she's away from Daisy, she's a lot more good girl. A lot sweeter toward other dogs and people in general than when Daisy's with her. So that pack mentality can work for or against other dogs coming in. And so when Daisy's kind of the pack leader, she influences a lot of Bonnie's behavior. So I think that's part of it. Underneath Bonnie's submissive side, there's a little bit of a guarded side in there as well. And that guarded side is what comes out whenever she's feeling that pressure from Daisy in terms of her heightening up her awareness and reactivity. That guarded side comes out and she becomes pretty vocal and pretty assertive as well. But as you can see, as she trains with me, heel, she's very submissive and eager to please. She enjoys being with people. Very sweet dog, enjoys a lot of attention, and she's pretty smart. Good girl. We also worked on down. No, down. Good girl. So any of the commands that we teach, we don't use the word stay after, but we expect them to stay in the commands that we put them in. So when we say down, I've taught her that if I lead with my outside foot, my right foot, the foot furthest from her, so in this case, if I walk away from her leading with my right foot, she should maintain that down position just like that. Now, we've also taught her that if I lead with my inside foot, so if your dog heels on the left, your inside foot is your left, the foot closest to them. We lead with our inside foot and she gets up right away. And this allows for a dog not only to focus on us audibly through their hearing, but also starts to get them paying more attention to us physically and I like that. So you're just getting an added dimension of attentiveness doing it that way. Nice automatic sit at the end of the heel. Good girl. And again, leading with my outside foot now. She should stay put in that sit position even as I walk a circle, and start to build on other distractions as well. Down. Good girl. We always like to say distractions are to dog training as weights are to weightlifting. So everybody can lift some weight, but a person that's super strong can lift a lot more weight than the average person. And the same thing when it comes to distractions with dogs. You know, every dog that I've ever met pretty much already knew how to sit, but the big question is, you know, can you hold that sit as distractions start to enter in? So that's where you find out that most dogs need help with that. They need training because they're pretty weak when it comes to being able to perform obedience commands as distractions begin to increase. And so you have distractions like physical ones that people think of, other dogs, animals, you know, sounds that they may hear in their environment, thunder, lightning, that sort of thing. All this, you know, in trainers' minds are just other levels of distractions that we may need to work through depending on the dog themselves. And then you have mental distractions as well, you know, distractions of time. You have distance distractions. The further away a dog is as we give a command, the more, you know, challenging and difficult it is for them to perform those commands. And of course you have the distraction that's right at the end of every dog's nose of scent. So dogs live their world mostly through their nose, where we live our world mostly through our eyes. And so a dog that is, you know, nose to the ground, as we give them a command to come or what have you, oftentimes, you know, they're so involved in that scent that they're hearing you, they're just not ready to listen to you. So we're, you know, working on each of those types of distractions in all of our training. Of course, only have 5 days. We've gotten, you know, where we've gotten, but there's a lot more that you can do with her at home as you continue to build on this. And so she just does a great job of coming when called. Come. She likes to be with people, and especially if she's not distracted, you know, by Daisy doing things, she has a tendency to kind of hang out with you even if you're not calling her. So that's that nice submissive side to her. Again, very sweet dog, and we've really enjoyed getting to know her better. The unspoken command we teach every dog, and this is just the general idea that if I walk around with a dog on a leash, the unspoken command says that a dog should never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And so this is how we teach every dog to not pull on a leash. And I feel like you shouldn't even have to have a command that goes with that. It should be just kind of a given. If I put a leash on a dog, they shouldn't try to reach the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And we've taken a lot of walks with her and Daisy both, and they both do really pretty well with that idea. So the concept just being, if you're on a leash, don't pull me at any time for any reason, no matter what you see, no matter what's going on. And if you are sniffing the ground, I've got the prerogative that I can stop and watch you sniff the ground and let you enjoy yourself if I want to, or I can go ahead and continue to move. But if I continue to move, this is where they have to give up on sniffing, and before I reach the end of the leash, as they stay back, they need to get up and follow. So we've done that a lot, and it's a great thing to start with for anybody that's got a dog. Just this general idea that if I move before the leash gets tight, a dog should stay within range of that leash at all times, so that we already start to establish ourselves in a subtle but powerful way as their leader, and they therefore become our follower. And it's a great way to start a good relationship with any dog. So again, she's done super well with that, and we've really enjoyed getting to know her. We've worked really hard on the reactivity, especially when she's in her crate and other dogs would walk by. Bonnie's guarded side would come out. She was very reactive, and again, that translates into a dog's going to be very reactive when she's on her own property and people come onto the property. So there again, I think all this is going to work to better her performance at home, and I think you'll really be glad that you've done the program with us. So that's about it for Bonnie. I'm going to get Daisy out now, and we're going to go through some stuff for her and show you what we've done with her as well. Okay, good girl. Okay is the release word, by the way. We talked about holding the command until we give the release word. So we taught her when we say okay, she can stop doing what we asked and do what she wants, basically. Daisy, sit. Good girl. Heel. No, sit. Good girl. All right, well, here we are back now with Daisy, and, oh, no, sit. No, sit. And although Daisy looks a lot like Bonnie, their dog alley types are quite different. Okay, I'm just gonna let her kind of wander around as I discuss that. Again, keeping in mind the unspoken command while I do. So right there you saw her kind of reach near the end of the leash right before she did. I made a proactive tug toward me and she got that message right away, is now doing a better job keeping slack in a leash. So this is why we call it the unspoken command, and even as I'm talking to you, I can be reinforcing this, and it's a really good way, again, of just keeping the relationship stable in terms of who's the leader, who's the follower, what's expected. All those good things happen without me saying a word if I'm proactive enough that each time she gets near the end of the leash at any time in any direction, I just tug in the opposite direction she's going and say nothing, and this way we do all those good things we talked about. So she's welcome to sniff around and stuff like that, like she's doing. She's just not allowed to get to the end of the leash. Very good. So yeah, so Daisy has quite a bit of a different temperament than Bonnie. She has a high dominant side to her. I do think that underneath that there's a good strong supportive side, which is a nice combination, really. So the dominant side is going to continue to make her a good watchdog. I don't think we could stop her from being a good watchdog if we tried, but what we are trying to do is produce some control within those instincts so that she is a lot more predictable and a lot less reactive in general, desensitizing her to things that are going to be very common. We've had her out on the property, and during boundary training, we've taken about every kind of dog I can bring past them out there on the property. So in the last 3 days, we've been out there 3 times. We were having some trouble with the collars holding a charge. We'll talk to you more about that in person. They're underground, well, not underground fence, they're GPS collars that they have. I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong with them, but they don't seem to hold a charge very long. I charged them all the way up, and then by the end of the next day, they were already dead again. So we still went out there and using the remote as backup, did some boundary training. And again, walking past a lot of different dogs by them, having vehicles pulling in and pulling out, making sure that they were doing well individually and then also in combination. And so we'll talk to you more about this in person, but basically I think the way for you to proceed at home with practicing the boundary training is making sure those collars are well charged. And again, let me know if I was doing something wrong there. But typically, I'm used to containment type collars holding a charge for maybe up to a month. But at any rate, making sure they're charged so that they're going to work. And then I've been taking them out on long lines, and I'll show you how we do that together now, so that way that pack mentality does develop and we can start to coach even within that. So at any rate, we focus on that a lot with her. Again, the reactivity to other animals passing by her crate has been a big one out here. Every day she's been coming along with Bonnie to my training center here, and we always have daycare dogs that are different dogs, different days, and she's been exposed to a lot of dogs and gotten really much better about not being reactive to dogs or people walking by her crate. So the dominant side of her is the type of dog that she is. They're the type of dogs that do like to take charge. They're leaders. It's good balance between her and Bonnie in terms of, you want them to be different. If they're both dominant, then they would butt heads and not get along as well as they do. But as you can always see, and you'll see in the video of them playing, and I'm sure you can tell me many more stories about how they play together at home, they really are a great combination together. So what we do with her, as far as Daisy goes, Daisy sit, is start to establish a foundation for her. I don't think she's had as much work previously to me working with her as Bonnie did, but she's also very smart, and that supportive side starts to come out, as you'll see here. Heel, as we give her the heel command, leading with our inside foot, no heel. And then just making sure that she's staying in that position literally every step of the way. The heel command, when done properly, is the most strict command of all commands given to any dog. So it's really a good step to step to step to step, focus and staying in that position. So when you think about heel, think about it in terms of a position and relationship to your body. Sit. So what we're looking for is her right paw to be parallel with my left foot and right about at our shoulder here. So if her right paw is falling in line with your left foot, then you know that she's really doing a good job of staying in the heel position. If she starts drifting too far away from you, they should always be close enough that where you can touch them if you bent down. No, sit. No, sit. No, sit. Good. Oh, you might notice we've got slip collar on her too. So being a dominant dog, they don't like to take instruction. They like to give instruction. And so both her and Bonnie have been wearing slip collars, otherwise known as choke collars to some people, but we don't choke dogs here, so we call them slip collars. But it gives a nice little snap, and that's helping us reinforce our commands. A dominant dog, like I say, they like to give commands, not take them. Heel. So they're a little resistant in the beginning. However, no, heel. With practice, a dominant dog can become very loyal and very responsive to the person that they have deemed to be their pack leader. So while they're naturally pack leaders themselves, they can accept and perform very well for somebody that they deem to be a pack leader for them. No, you know what to do. There you go. Good. Again, leading with my outside foot. She should now stay put into that sit position as sit. Walk that circle around her. And again, she's been a little more challenging to get to do all these little things just because she's probably not had as much experience in the past and because of that dominant side to her. Heel. Leading with that left foot now. She gets up. And the command dominant dogs hate the most because of their dominant nature. No, sit. Is one that we've worked with pretty hard and simple. Down. Good. Yeah, so she didn't like to do that one. The down symbolically in the wild is a submissive gesture, kind of like a salute in the military. And she's really kind of struggled doing that one initially. And so we worked hard to get her over that. So you're going to have to accept my authority over you. Just like, if you ever been in the military, pretty quickly you're going to accept the authority of those sergeants that are above you in the pecking order in the military. And so, this down command is like getting them to give a salute. It's also a very good command in general because they can literally fall asleep doing it and wake up an hour later still doing it. So as opposed to a sit command where you may only ask them to do it for 2 or 3 minutes at a time before that gets to be a long time for them to hold the sit. This down one, down. This down one is one they can do for a lot longer. And you notice as she began to break, all I did was step on the leash. I'm kind of glad she did that so I could show you the technique. It's just as easy as taking your foot and stepping down on the leash and get them back in that down position. Again, leading with the left foot, saying nothing. Good. She should get up and follow, and we worked with that as well, just to get that added dimension of attentiveness. So we're not just listening for our commands anymore. Now we know that a dog has to learn to pay attention to our body and figure out what we want them to do next as well. No, sit. Good. Leading with my right foot, she should stay put. Very good girl. Good girl. And okay, good. So she's come a long way in 5 days. I'm really proud of her. I think that underneath the surface, that supportive side is going to maybe even compete with the dominant side. And if you continue a little of the practice that I'm showing you here and just getting her, working around the property even, she's going to do really well with it. And I think that supportive side might even flip over to the top side of her. Instead of being high dominant _ supportive, I think she can go into high supportive _ dominant, which would be a whole new world for her. Both dogs did fantastic whenever we went on field trips. So out in public, I didn't walk them together, but separately. We were out at the YMCA, and the day we were there were just kids everywhere and other dogs everywhere, and there's bicycles everywhere. And I couldn't be prouder of each of the dogs as I took them out around the kids' playground and down the path where the bikes go by, and all the other joggers and people came by. really, really good overall with that. I think Bonnie might have growled at one person that kind of snuck up on us unexpectedly from behind on a bike and kind of blew by us, and I think that spooked her, and she might have growled a little bit on one person. But Daisy was really content just to kind of be cool throughout our field trips. And so especially individually, I think the old term divide and conquer is a really good way to start with these guys, because when they're together, that pack mentality, they feed off of each other, and they're really good at that. I think that's been formed in them for a long time. They're together all the time, and that's easy to break if you break them up, but hard to break if they're still together. So you might find that your homework is a little bit more successful if you have one crated like we do here, work one, and then you change around. So you put the other one in the crate and then work that one. And then when they're doing really well independently, when they're doing really well separately, then we put them together and start to work it out. But we're here to help you every step along the way. This video is yours to keep and click on as many times as you like as you continue to practice with her. And for those of you that aren't going to be working with Daisy and Bonnie, I hope you enjoyed getting to see a little bit of their temperaments and a little bit about their story. And hope maybe that's given you some insight as to maybe some of the things that you're seeing in your own dog. So as always, thanks for watching and happy training. Okay, Daisy, good girl. Bye.